A very, very good evening to you all, and welcome to today's session of our introduction to cybersecurity class. Okay. Today we'll be looking at the module 3 of the course, and we'll be focusing on protecting your data privacy. Protecting your data privacy. Okay, so let us go into it. We'll be focusing on explaining how to protect devices from threats. We'll also explain how to protect your devices and network. We will describe safe procedures for data maintenance. And then, how do you safeguard your online privacy? We'll explain how to safeguard your privacy by describing strong authentication methods and also describing safe online behaviors. Okay. All right. Protecting your computing devices. You need to, first of all, keep your firewall on. Okay. When they say firewall, what does it mean? Every system or network should have a firewall. It is like a wall. It's like a brick wall that separates two sides of the wall. This is external. This is internal. What do we mean? This is everything that is in your system. Okay? Then this is everything that is outside your system. All right? So now the firewall controls whatever that is coming into the system. All right. If you have, all right. So the firewall controls everything that is coming into your system. And when anything is in your system, it wants to go out, it also passes through the firewall. So this firewall is just policies where you describe what you want to permit and what you want to deny. Okay? So keep your firewall on, prevents unauthorized access to your data or computing devices. Keeping the firewall up to date ensures that you're also protected. Another way is to use antivirus and anti-spyware. So there are some antiviruses that has this firewall inbuilt. The antiviruses is just a software that has what we call the updated virus definition database. The virus definition database is just a database that houses the latest threats or viruses or viral threats or malware threats that can harm your system. So if your system is updated, then if there's any threat that is coming in, you get to know about it. So prevent unauthorized access to your data or computing devices. It only downloads software from trusted websites, and it keeps your softwares up to date. Another thing you can do is manage your operating system and browser. Okay? When you're managing your operating system, there are certain components that are related to that. Let me show you, for instance. Let me share my screen as a whole. Now, if I do something like this, task manager, this task manager here, I believe you can see it, actually shows every resources of my system. It shows the processes, and these are all the processes. Can you see the list of the processes? Even the Zoom we're using, this is the Zoom processes that we're using. This is the amount of processor it's using. This is the amount of RAM is using. This is the disk space and the speed is using. This is the amount of internet bandwidth is using. This is the power ratings and everything, every processes. So any application that you're running on your system, you see all these applications, all these processes, they are running. Okay. So if you see your CPU usage high, you need to check what is consuming it. Then you can also check it in form of performance. You see, it's operating system that is managing all these things. Now, under performance, you see CPU here. It will give me in CPU. This is the utilization of my CPU. This is the number of processes that are there. This is the number of threads, not threads there, okay? This is how long it has been up. This is the specification of my processor. I come to my memory. So you see my processor is Intel Core i7 and this is the speed, 2.8 gigahertz. I come to memory. This is my memory. I have about 16 gig of memory and I'm using about 10 gig. I have available balance of about 5.4 gig. So any application that I load, you see it's running on it. So I can decide to come down here and drop down a particular, let's see which application is using this thing. All right. So for instance, this is in Microsoft Edge. So let me end it. If I end it, you will see that it's going to drop the amount. Okay, instead of this, let me drop this SharePoint. It will drop the amount of RAM usage because I'm closing it. So if I end it now, I come to performance. Can you see my RAM? The graph has come down a little. It's trying to tell me that I have more space now. I have 6 gig available now. If I come back to processes and I drop another application, probably this is WhatsApp. If I decide to end the WhatsApp, okay, and I end task, I come to memory performance. You'll see it has dropped down again. So you see, I have 6.6. So the memory, any application that you are loading, any application that you are running on your system, it is loaded to your RAM, and that's the memory. So if I close some of the applications, I will have more space. But if I load more applications, it's going to now tell on my RAM. So the more RAM space you have, the more application that you can load. Disk space, disk speed, sorry. So I'm using SSD, solid state drive, and that is why you see it's very, very fast. It's about 1%, so nothing much. My Ethernet, my internet, I'm not consuming much. So you see, all these things are management of my operating system. So let me close it. So what we're saying here is that you manage your operating system and browser. So they set the security settings at minimum or higher, update your computer operating systems and browsers, download and install the latest software patches. You can do that. So let me, I think my antivirus, let me load it so that you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm using like Norton antivirus, and I'm using a license copy, which you're supposed to also be using. So this is like what it looks like. So you can, let me come to under security here. I can scan, I can do backup, I can run live updates. If I come to performance, I can check performances here. Come to privacy, my VPN and whatever. I can come back here. So let me look for scans. Okay, this is my license panel here. If I have an alert, this is the alert. It will give me some information that may be helping me. We are restricting incoming traffic on this network. So that's the firewall. So I can change the plan if I want and things like that. If I come to settings, so you see on the features, I can check my antivirus settings. I can check browser extensions. I can check ransomware protection, safe web, how to browse safe, and things like that. So if I click antivirus, it will tell me these are the features that I have that are open from my Norton antivirus. I can do email protection to protect my emails, script control, and things like that. So there's a lot that this antivirus software can do for me. Okay. These are the performance and things like that. I can come to improve intrusion prevention, and then it will say block brute force, block malicious IP, block this, block this. So you enable all these things, and it will be working fine. Okay, for the computer, this is it. You can now come for the web. If you want to do safe web that we talked about, you enable it so that if I am browsing any site that is malicious, it's going to take note of it. Protect all your devices. Use a password to protect. Make sure you have password on your phones, your tablet, and things like that. Okay. Use wireless network safely. Home wireless network, like right now, I'm using my network in my house, have internet, and so there's always a password that you do. You can change the preset SSID and default administrative password of your Wi-Fi router. For instance, what it means is that the SSD here stands for service set identifier. It is like the name that is being broadcast. Okay. Now, for instance, let me show you guys something. I'm using Airtel. So let me log into my Airtel router at home here. And then I'll show you the interface of what it means. This is my home router. And under the wireless settings, if I come to network here, okay, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, under network settings, I'm coming, Wi-Fi client list, no. This, where is it? Where am I looking for? What am I looking for? The network settings or LAN, LAN settings. This is Wi-Fi. Now, in my Wi-Fi settings, what I'm saying is that I can have SSID. Can you see SSID? This is like, let me zoom it so that you see it well. For security on your router, when you buy a router, maybe MTN or Airtel or any, even if your own phone, it comes with a default name. Maybe you will see the name as Airtel MiFi or router, or you see MTN Kinikon. So you have to change the SSID. So you see my own, I've changed it to SSD home. All right, you change the SSID, and then you come to create a security type. Make sure that you use this security type, WPA, WPAS2. So it gives you option. So you select that, and then the the encryption key I use is AES, and then I use a password, and then you apply. So you see, as simple as this, it helps you to secure your network. Okay, so you have secured your Wi-Fi. So here we are saying that make sure that you do not use the default one. The default one is the one that comes with the manufacturer or the device. So you change it. Disable the SSID broadcast. Maybe if you don't want to be using Wi-Fi, you want to use LAN, you can disable it. Use WPA2 encryption feature like the one I've shown you. So be aware of WPA2 protocol security flow, and then it allows intruder to break into the encryption between wireless router and client. So you have to ensure that you use this. If not, it can easily be cracked. So use caution when using public Wi-Fi hotspot. Public Wi-Fi hotspots, you go to the airport, you go to public spaces, people just open up their Wi-Fi to ensure that you get hacked or you get connected to it. Why am I saying so? For instance, now on my router here, I can see all those that are connected to it. Let me see networking. Or is it networking? I want to see the device, the people that are connected. Sorry, I don't think that is it. Client list, very good. So you see, these are the devices that are connected. This SSD PC is my laptop. That's the one that I'm connected. So this information is very important. This MAC address here is very important. So somebody can use this MAC address and be able to cause mayhem to you, right? So that's why you're supposed to be very cautious. You're also supposed to be using antivirus to do VPN. For instance, here in my own, you see, I can do secure VPN here. I've turned it off because I'm doing this class. So anytime I'm doing some very internet activities, I'll just turn this one on. If I turn this one on, it becomes VPN. Now, what is this VPN? VPN will say the IP address of your system will change from its current location. So in my own case, I said if I on VPN, my IP address will come from United Kingdom. So anybody who is tracking me, for instance, will think that I am browsing from United Kingdom. That is just what VPN does. It helps to mask your IP address to see as if it's coming from another location. Always turn your Bluetooth off when you're not in use because it can easily be cracked. Use unique passwords for each online account. All right. When you're using passwords, make sure that you use these tips. Do not use dictionary words or names in any language. Okay. And then do not use common misspellings of dictionary words. Very important. Do not use computer names or account names. All right. These are like tips that will help you when you're creating a very good password. If possible, use special characters such as this. All right. These special characters, you can include them when you're creating password. It makes your passwords very strong. All right. And ensure that you use a password within 10 or more characters. Now, for instance, now, if you have a password like this, all white cats, all right? This password is okay, but it's not very good. So you decide to transform it into this. It's the same all white cat, but you are turning all the L into ones. All right, you can see the L's are turned into ones. It's good, but you can do it better. So if you look at it here, it's the same all white cat, but what we did was that the A becomes capital, and then there is reduction of number 7, right? And then the @ sign. So you see that is better, right? So you can have different passwords. So for instance, you can use Amazon Pass, for instance, or you can change it to this, or you can change it to this. The whole idea is that you can do, if you see this one says, I like my school, it's a password. But you see in this case, they use capital letters in the beginning of each word. But you see in this case, they have included special characters so that it will make it even stronger. Okay, so that is for that one, right? Use passphrase rather than passwords. Passphrase is when you make it like a sentence. So there are some tips when you're choosing good passphrase. Choose a meaningful statement to you. All right. You can also add special characters like we have talked about, and then the longer the better. So instead of just a word, because you say password, but now we're using passphrase. So this word is changed for a phrase. All right. So avoid common or famous statements, for example, lyrics from a popular song. So how do you do that? 1, 8 characters minimum in length, but not more than 64 characters. No common, easily guessed passwords such as ABCD123. You don't use that. No composition of rules such as having to include lowercase, uppercase, and numbers. All right. No knowledge-based authentication such as information from shared secret questions, marketing data, transaction. You know why they're giving all these tips? Because password crackers use like an algorithm. And in the algorithm, it checks maybe dictionary words, it checks personal info and things like that, right? So, for instance, now, this is a password. You see, this passphrase, sorry. If you read it very well, it says, this is my passphrase. This is a passphrase, all right? And this is okay. But a better one, it says, is the second one. Can you see what it says? A cat that loves dogs. Can you see? It is a phrase, but the way it is written, is better. And then see the better one here. See the way it's written. A cat space that loves dogs. But you see there's a mixture of special characters, numbers, and symbols, and then alphabets, lower and upper cases. So when you are setting up a password, it's best to use passphrase. Okay. All right. So another thing you need to do is learn to always back up your data to prevent loss. Backing up your data simply means ensuring that your data is kept somewhere apart from your system. And that is why you all need to activate your Unijust email addresses. I'm going to do another class on cloud backup so that you can know how to back up your data. So you can back it up on a flash drive, you can back it on a DVD, you can back it up on an email or anywhere else. All right. So make sure you copy that document that is important and keep it somewhere else. It's very important. Okay. All right. So safeguarding your online privacy. It's what we call two-factor authentication. Popular online services uses two-factor authentication. It needs a username, needs a password or PIN, and then uses like a token for access, This is something like a token. So you use it maybe in banks or some other online platforms. So it sends like a code. So the token can actually be a physical object, or can be in form of a soft something. So that's a two-factor authentication. In other cases, they can even use a biometric scan, maybe your fingerprint, palm, eye, or vocal cord. So the idea of the two-factor is that there is another element that is used to authenticate apart from the conventional login details that you have. And then you have what we call authentication 2.0, an open standard protocol that allows an end user's credentials to access third-party applications without exposing the user's password. So it acts as a middleman to decide whether to allow the end users access the third-party application or not. Now, what we are saying, for instance, is that this particular user here wants to access a particular website, wants to access a resource on a particular website. So once he makes this request to access this website, what happens is that this particular server sends the request to a server where it will be authenticated, right? And then once it gets here, then this guy now requests for the authentication. So what are you trying to authenticate? You want to gain access to this guy here. So your credentials is sent to this authentication server, that is the authentication 2.0. And then this authentication server will now tell this web server that you are permitted to access the resource. So that is another way of securing. Another way is ensure that you do not share too much information, especially on social media. Do not share too much information. Share as little information as possible on social media. Do not share information like your birth date, your email address, your phone number, or your NIN number, or your BVN number, or your social security number. All those things are not to be shared on social media because they carry personal information about you. All right. And it can be used for identity theft. Another thing you should not share is email and web browser history. So email is like sending a postcard. So copies of the email can be read by anyone with access. So the email is passed among different servers. Make sure you use private browsing mode to prevent others from gathering information about your online activities. Okay, so private mode on popular browsers include Internet Explorer. You can find it in private. On Google Chrome, you can find it in incognito. In Mozilla, you can find it in the private tab. In Safari, you can find it in private browsing. These are all different browsers that you can use. All right, so in summary, we have explained how to protect devices and network from threats, describe safe procedures for data maintenance, explain how to safeguard your privacy using strong authentication methods and practicing safe online behaviors, right? So there are some lab activities. You are going to do it on your own. When you log into your portal, you will be able to do the lab activities on your own. So that will be all for today's lecture. So I will open up for questions. All those that have questions, you will be able to raise your hand now so that